we realized that AI is an existential threat for our business. But on the other hand, it's an amazing opportunity to become more than just a professional agency. Within less than a year, created like 14 different products, which are up and running. Skills are important, though I feel that is becoming a commodity. Like the data is our secret sauce and what we bring to the table.
So Lior, you and your co-founder started Moburst in your kitchen in Israel. You bootstrapped the whole thing, bought your own computers and everything. Fast forward today, and you have about 100 employees. You're working with clients like Google, Uber, and Samsung. And you guys have doubled down on AI in a way that I just have not seen any other agencies do. And so I'm so curious, what was that transition like for you when you went from a traditional agency to this now AI first model, where you had to transition 100 employees to this new model?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I think we're one of the, when people come up with an agency, they say, did you mean for an agency from the start, or did you stumble upon? I feel like we kind of stumbled upon it being an agency. We kind of, both my co-founder and I are very passionate about technology. We were kind of growth hacking mindsets, and at some point, in the early days, we figured out we can bring that mentality and some of the kind of early techniques. We started with mobile marketing and mobile apps. That's where we saw the original opportunity and grew. But I think the passion to technology and how we can do things with technology for our clients has always kind of sticked. And in a year and a half, 2 years ago, when the AI kind of boomed, we realized that this is, on the one hand, an existential threat for our business, but on the other hand, it's like an amazing opportunity to become like more than just a professional agency, which at the end of the day sells its knowledge and labor. And that's where we had a mindset shift of, okay, we can take our collective knowledge, instill that with AI, and then like superpower the agency, and gives us capabilities that no other player has. And also equip our employees and just make them much better at what they do, and kind of take all the nitty-gritty and make them the strategists rather than the workers. So that's, in a nutshell, I think, how we got here.
How do you feel how did your perception change on the existential crisis, you called it, right? Like, as an agency, I have an agency as well, and to your point, we sell knowledge and labor. Well, if AI is doing knowledge, AI is doing labor, how has your perspective shifted on that existential crisis?
Yeah. So I think the way we thought about this is, if we are to continue doing the things that we're doing as we did them, 2023, if this is how we're going to work 2, 3, 4 years from now, yes, most likely some AI shape or form would either do what we do, or the value of what we're doing, but just the inclination to pay for these services won't be as high, because the alternative would be almost zero. So it was clear to us that we needed to shift if we want to thrive in this environment, then we need to do a shift. And also I think that there's something around like marketing, with how it's dynamic. And as an agency, we kind of, we grew through mobile, and then came iOS privacy change, and that kind of, shifts a lot of how we did stuff. And then we started to acquire other agencies and got into different phases. So I feel we needed to reinvent ourselves every few years anyway, as we were kind of accustomed to looking, okay, this is what's going on in the market. If we want to thrive, if we want to, stay at the edge, if we want to be able to serve the giant brands of the world, how can we be on the edge? What are they looking for? What's kind of what do they require from their growth partners? So I think that was what led us to think that, okay, AI is this amazing capability. How do we build upon that? How do we become an AI first agency, an AI first company? How do we build tools that were not we couldn't build before utilizing AI? So That's I think what instilled this whole movement.
And okay, so you had to make the shift essentially to an AI first agency. And I feel like I've heard hundreds of agencies say we're AI first. You guys are one of the first agencies I've seen actually be AI first, right? Um, and so but it's hard because you have a big ship of 100 employees that you have to just culture shift to now be AI oriented. They change their workflows, they change their beliefs, etc. What was one of the first things you did to help like actually become AI first and like change the behaviors of the people in your organization?
So I can tell you kind of our journey and what we learned. So initially, when we started off, we kind of thought, okay, let's start mapping the different processes we have, and we have 27 different services. So lots of teams, lots of services, lots of processes, and thinking through what can we automate. But as we were doing that, we realized like it would take us, 3, 4, 6 months just to do that. And one of the things we realize is when you start to do that and speak with, the employees, which aren't necessarily AI first mentality yet, on what can help, what can help their day, what can we automate, they tend to think about like really small, minute, take this from this Excel to that Excel, and have something that can sort that out or do this data logging. And so we realized, okay, like we're thinking about this wrong. So one of the things we did early on is say, okay, we want to take. We have all these different teams. Let's create an AI champions program where we take the person which has the best inclination and we think has the best chance of helping us instill this revelation in their team. Invest in upskilling them, invest in training them, and kind of help them understand like the mentality. And then what we started to do is actually do AI hackathons, taking a team of folks, putting them in a room, either physical or virtual, with some prep work and saying, okay, guys, by the end of the day, like clean out their schedule, obviously, you have a full day, come up with an MVP. And we did a few rounds of these. And the first round was like, this is not developers, right? This is not like product people. This is professional service people. They're used to come and work on reports, deliverable, client calls. Like the whole motion of an agency is very client oriented. And suddenly like they're in a setting where they're expected to build something with, all these tools. So I think people had kind of the uncomfortable feeling of actually dealing with these tools, and we made sure we have like technical support. So we had like the different team members that are developers or technical team members to help them on call with that. So we did like a few rounds of those. The first one was tough, but the second one, like they got something. Like by the end of the day, they had a tool which can actually help their day to day, and that's where we kind of saw that, okay, people are suddenly coming up with their own ideas and building their own kind of tools, and like a motion was created, and then we said, okay, we're seeing that this is becoming a thing. This is obviously something that was also very much discussed and encouraged. I don't think we have probably lots of companies, but I think we spoke about AI and kind of where we're at and the vision ad nauseum. Like I think every week we would speak with the team on how important and what we're seeing and what's going, and like showing them capabilities. And once we had a few kind of initial MVPs, we said, okay, now we're switching gears. Like we have the motion. We created a centralized AI team of the kind of best builders that we had in the company, and started to look at this as products. So more of a product roadmap. Let's now have manage this as what's the spec? How do we build a roadmap? Make sure we have a concrete deadline by when we need to ship. Have the team as the user, collect feedback, iterate, and kind of created a system that allowed us every week to progress on all these different initiatives. And just early this year, we had kind of an AI week where we revealed all the different products, and every team needed to present and demo, which was also awesome because it was interesting to see, how a team, how the design team presents their tool versus how the PR team versus every tool, every system and tool brought kind of what they had to the table. And essentially that's how we, within less than a year, created like 14 different products which are up and running. Some are we sell to clients, some are used internally, and now we're kind of doubling down on this and hiring even more for the AI team, trying to see, okay, now how can we build, how can we double down and build 20, 30 products this year, because there are so many use cases and value we can bring internally and externally. So that's, I think, the short story of how we got in terms of the change management of it.
It sounds like what most people do is they send an email to their team and say, please use AI, right? And they'll repeat it on calls, but you guys actually like did something. You guys had a hackathon, champions. What made you said the first hackathon was tough, right? What made the first one so tough?
Yeah. So first on that, I think, and we're seeing that with a lot of our clients, which are kind of, we're now starting to help clients with that change management, kind of AI transformation as a service, so to speak. So they said like, we brought all these consultants and we had, we brought all these lectures on AI, but it doesn't stick. And I think it doesn't stick because it's not a bottom down, an up down kind of, you need, it's bottom up. You need it to come from the people. It's changing how their day-to-day work. It's changing how they work. So yeah, it's definitely, you need to make sure leadership and management is aligned on how important this is, so they can invest the resources needed. But to your question, how did, I think the fact that we created this space and time where the team was not kind of encouraged, but expected. This is all you're doing today, guys. You're sitting and you're building something. You're not like putting aside all the deliverables and all other priorities. This is our sole focus. It was very costly from an agency perspective because this is what we have, billable hours. But I think the motion it created and kind of forced people to deal firsthand with, yes, they worked with ChatGPT, but they never really, tried to vibe code or automate anything or deal with with an API or an integration. And suddenly, like they needed to deal with it, and they saw that, hey, with some guidance and some discovery, I can actually do this stuff, and I can build a product. And I think for many team members, it was very empowering, and I think that's what you need. You need like a few in in different parts of the organization that kind of click and get it, and from there it kind of creates this momentum of, okay, people see that their team members are just doing stuff much more efficient, and they kind of, okay, maybe I can also make my workflow more efficient. And it kind of creates this positive motion, positive snowball in the organization, where suddenly everyone kind of comes with ideas, and we have a Slack channel of, okay, productivity tips, where people write all kinds of AI productivity tips, all kinds of cool tools or hacks they found out, and we do these company sessions where, okay, the AI team now shows all kinds of tricks within the tools we work with, within Gmail, within Calendar, within how they integrate, what you can do if you connect them, what you can do with lots of the tools. Like, I think every tool today has AI features, but most team members don't really use it. They have kind of and we're also trying to be we work with Asana. We were the beta testers of AI teammates. We have a bunch of AI teammates in Asana, which kind of do work and notify and follow up. So also trying to be those early adopters with all the technologies and tools we're working with. So I think our partners, our suppliers also understand that, hey, they're the early adopters. So now we're getting, some of the early features and betas, and it just creates this positive momentum that I think builds upon and got us to where we are today.
That's cool. And how long did it take for it to click with people? I imagine the first AI hackathon, people were like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
and got
Uh,
super frustrated. Like, how many times did it take?
Um, I think for some teams, I think from the first to the second, that's when it clicked. Some teams needed, maybe one or two more, but that's more or less it. And we try to have one every month, so that gives you an idea. Like, it took a few months to really fully click, and we try to be very like. I would, have the VPAI. Okay, let's have, the calendar for the next month and make sure we have like we tell in advance this is the hackathon day for the PR team, for the media team, for all the different teams to make sure it's secured well in advance so nobody has any reasons not to show up or there's a client QBR or whatnot. Everyone knows in advance when their day is and how do we work backward. How do we kind of from each iteration we understood how do we do better, what do we need to, maybe there's some prep work needing to be done, how can we make sure that we don't spend half a day just talking on what we're going to do. So we did that beforehand so that the team comes in, they know what they're going to work on. So all kinds of, I think we created the AI hackathon as sort of a product in and of itself, how we can improve it, what type of people need to be in the room, how much support do you give them, how much do you let them kind of, bounce against the wall and try stuff their own, because part of this is to empower them but help them so they can not be frustrated this but actually succeed. So I think it was a very delicate and but important step that we took as a company.
And what about like, did you have to change processes? Did you have to change expectations? And I know a lot of folks have like changing tools. Like I know a lot of folks have canceled their old SaaS products and are now building their own AI forward SaaS products. Like, what was that all like?
Yeah. So I think we early on, and this is one of the first thing I did when I kind of started to go to conferences and I saw everyone doing crazy shit with AI. And then I asked the team, like, okay, what did you do with AI? And yeah, but it's legal told us that the copywriting issues, we can't use it for deliverables or so I think first one of the first thing I did is make sure we provide a very clear we do all the prep work in terms of legal, make sure we're on the right subscriptions with every tool. So what do we need to be on with ChatGPT, Claude, like the creative tool, the different creative tools? What do we need to do in order to make sure that we're not the models aren't learning on client data, we have the IP and rights in place and all that kind of stuff. I think that created, okay, now guys run, like now that we have an AI policy and we know you're using the right tools, and create a framework for testing new tools and whitelisting legally. So I think that was an important step, just to compliance wise. It's the boring stuff that no one wants to care, but working with the Googles and all the big companies of the world, they care about that. So they want to make sure. Some companies still today have in their contract, like, you guys can't use AI. And then we have a discussion like, we can't really, like, where we can't use we can't not use AI, because then it will hurt your deliverables. We'll be working, it will hurt your performance. So I think most clients today understand that there's the compliant way to do that, and that was important for us to set that up. And then I think we did. We do allow, and I think we had probably 6 months of just experimenting with every tool under the sun. And then we just started, okay, let's start to consolidate and focus. Okay, this is a tool, like, we use Claude for this, we use Gemini for this, we use this for the creative team, where they use Weavy for like creative automation, and A10 for like, so just to try and have, because there are so many tools. And I think a lot of noise in this space is just that, hey, Lovable came out with the agent, and Base 44 came out with super agents. And yes, it's nice, and it's good to take track of what's going on in the industry and what are the capabilities. But I think also gaining proficiency and focus, and trying to be professional. Like now we're I think like most of the industry are triple down on Cloud and Cloud Cowork and Cloud Code.
Right.
Because we realize that for many of our use cases, it's just very, very powerful and gives us, the best results. So I think that that's important to leave some room for experimentation with tools, but also to focus and not jump from one tool to the other.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're almost mostly Claude as well. Um,
Yeah.
and what about bringing new folks into your ecosystem? Like, have you had to change your hiring process to bring new people into this culture?
Um, so I don't know how much about the process versus the like understanding that any candidate today you give them. So we used to do like professional tests, send them like home tests as one of the hoops you need to go through. But now you give them a home test. Of course, everyone will use AI, so it doesn't mean anything. So I think it's much more of doing. Yes, we might ask you to do some prep work, but present what you did, talk through, answer questions. Seem much more like that the person knows what he's speaking about. It's fine to use AI, but you don't but make sure you understand and know to hone on the what you get from the AI. So I think we moved a lot of the professional to more like live sessions. That isn't bulletproof either. I know that like we just started hiring in India, and one of the intels we got there is, hey, like make sure they're in an office and maybe someone is watching them, because otherwise you'll just have ChatGPT open and we'll just read aloud from ChatGPT. So I think that's also not bulletproof, but yeah, just understanding that we want to make sure and ask people how they use AI, and see if they just give you, yeah, I use ChatGPT, and ask them, no, like, did you build any automation? Or did you ever do an integration? Like, to make sure that they really know what they're talking about, and not just saying AI for buzzword.
How do you test AI skills in that front? Because we mentioned earlier, you had a great quote from Andreessen Horowitz, where all these roles, and remind me which roles, but all these roles are all coming together, merging into one.
Yeah, it was
And so now
product
right,
design, and dev.
product
Those were
design and
the
dev.
three, that
Okay.
each one is essentially eating into the stack of the other.
And that implies, so if before we had to find a product person, a dev person, and a product and a design person, right? In the future, that just becomes one role, right? Is that what that's implying?
Yeah, I think it's yet to be determined. I think that's still there are still designers, developers,
Right.
and product people. But I think yeah, the capabilities, like product folks, and we work with a lot of product, like they can, rather than giving a PRD or just a Figma, they can like vibe code a product and then just say to the developer, hey, like now make it in production, make it actual. So I think the capabilities of, and same goes for like developer, he can attach Claude to Figma and really quickly do like okay, this is how I'm envisioning the UI, the UX. So I think that there's still the last mile that the professional, and it was interesting. I saw somebody speak about this the other day, that even he was speaking, he's like a marketer, and his co-founder was a technical, and he said, like, the way that I speak with Cloud Code and the way that my co-founder, which is a technical person, speak with Cloud Code, I can never get to the level and nuances of what he asks Cloud Code. And that's an interesting, because when you really have domain expertise in design or code or product, I think you can be much more specific in nuance in what you ask for AI. So that's where I think it comes to play. But yes, there will be. I think the notion is that, like, I think entry level designers, or the essentially the, and I think it's already happening today. If you look at like U.S. hiring, that people are having a hard time finding entry level jobs, because lots of that is being done by AI. I think the strategic pieces, the the people with domain expertise, with experience, can just use AI too, because again, they have the vocabulary, they have the capability of explaining and nuances which someone without that could just not do.
Hmm. Yeah, and so then with that change, we're still in the last mile, so we still need domain expertise. Um, how is the type of person you're looking for changed since this
Yeah,
shift?
that's a great question. So I think rather than just someone who, who can communicate clearly or is very presentable, that's still important at an agency because we still take on calls and interface. But I think also the just the thought process of I'm looking for folks who are building stuff for their own vibe coded during the weekend because they had an idea or they have passion projects or they like that they try the tools not just because their workplace told them. Like they're actually passionate about it. They know about the latest development, and those are, I think, more harder to find. The people that are really passionate about it, but yeah, I think especially as more and more people understand that their careers depend upon it. I think the more folks are getting themselves educated and make sure that they know about it. So yeah, it also depends on which role. There are roles which I kind of know that we'll be able to upskill them. There are roles where we know we want to bring them into like a builder role, and that's obviously we need them to bring that to the team. So there are also nuances from that because we still need people again with a domain expertise that can work with the builders to do to build the AI automation. But yeah, I think understanding like the capabilities, understanding how to utilize and think about AI and understand that like doing. I think I saw a Fiverr CEO quote that I think it was one of the CEO emails that went around last year that he said like if you're working like it's I don't remember if it was 2023 or 2024, if you're still working the same way like you're doing it all wrong. And that's I think the notion, the fact that you can't just continue working like you used to. You need to change your habits.
And so what is that? Because it sounds like it, if I extrapolate from what you said, I would assume that everyone is now a builder, right? Is that accurate, or are there people who can still only use the chat function of Claude and don't have to touch cowork and code?
Yeah, so but I ideally everyone is a builder. I think realistically, I think you can't have everyone be a builder because somebody needs to use the tools that the builders build. So that's where I think you need that mix of again the subject matter expertise with deep experience in their profession, working with the builders to create stuff that's actually like professional and up to par and can really serve the needs of the professionals. So it's kind of a mix of people who have some domain expertise but are strong like technically or strong with the builders, and have others which are like have lots of experience and can bring that into the AI to make it even better.
Yeah, because like when I think about how we test folks, we kind of break them into two buckets. I think we mentioned before the call, which is the builders and the users, let's call it, right? And so in this world, it's I do a lot of so called marketing roles, project manager, that kind of stuff. And so you have marketers who use a ton of AI, and you have builders who build in tools for the marketers, right, or for the clients. Um, and so you test, or today we're testing those folks differently, right? We're testing marketers to say, can you prompt in a way that shows off your domain expertise and gets you the outcome we need? And on the builder side, we're saying, can you use n8n, trigger.dev, whatever, to make these things a reality? Um, I wonder when that merges, if it merges. And it sounds like what I'm hearing is it might not merge entirely because the domain expertise, it needs to give domain expertise, but we need users for what the builders build.
Yeah, I think as the so Claude had Claude code, but then it saw that it's too technical for non developers, so it created Claude Cowork as kind of the way in the middle. It's still a chat experience, but it is much more capable than chat. So I feel that you would still need to understand how to use these, but not necessarily, so that's kind of how there will be the people who are, I think that Cloud Code, if I'm thinking how to, have everyone on the team use it, I don't think I'll be able to have every person in Moburst use Cloud Code because there's a sticker shock when you open terminal and people feel uncomfortable. But Cloud Cowork on that and having skills and working with connectors and understanding like just what to do, it's I think something that gap doesn't seem as difficult. So yes, we need to tell them with skills. We need to build the environment that can work for them. But I think it can. I mean, that's how when I'm thinking about the cloud types of things. Obviously, we're doing other stuffs as well. But that's how I'm thinking about this. That you will need people that still get it. Like they can't again work in the old ways just with domain expertise. They need to understand what these tools are capable and do some work, but they don't necessarily need to be the full on like open terminal and let's write code.
Right, right, right. And like for those folks, have you guys restructured, um, I want to use the word infrastructure, it's not the right word. And so like as an example, like I used to work uh, I'm dating myself, but 15 years ago I worked in files. 10 years ago I worked in Google Drive, right? Shared files. And now it feels like those files are becoming skills, right? Um, are you guys restructuring the infrastructure of Moburst to move in that direction where people are more working on skills, or is it still kind of the traditional infrastructure?
Um, so I think it's a bit of both. One thing that is a very strategic effort for us is to make sure that I think as an agency, usually, especially since we did a bunch of acquisitions, so each team comes with their own nuances. So yes, everyone works with the Google Drive, but how can we create like one data warehouse which supports all the teams and all the data, all the client data lives there. So we had a data warehouse, we had campaign data and whatnot, but now we're doing a consolidated effort to okay, let's make sure all the PR stuff is there and all the podcasting stuff and all the different services, so it can all live in one place and then okay, once we have that, how do we create like a semantic connection that understands okay, if a PR goes live, that can affect a brand's AEO. So we can kind of understand that there's all these different activities that might be influencing another, and then you can put AI on top and say, hey, like why did my numbers, why did I decrease or increase on ChatGPT? And then it runs through all the different stuff that's going on across all the different domains and data we have, and said, okay, we saw that you launched a podcast, there was an influencer post, and this and that happened, and connecting the dots that a human can't necessarily, like if we were need to sync the team for everything and say, okay, what did you do, like you can have an AI, and maybe there's connections that we're not thinking about that are influencing one another. So that's one of the things that we're thinking of creating, like making sure we have the data in place. And with regards to the other infrastructure, so yes, I think the documentation is important because you can feed that into as unstructured data to a bunch of use cases. Skills are important, though I feel that is becoming a commodity. Like there's so many skills on Git, so how can we create something that would instill our unique know-how? And for the way that where I'm looking at this is the data is the piece. Like that's what's special for us. We have all this experience from all the stuff that we did that no other agency has, and maybe some additional data points that we're collecting that can be like our secret sauce and what we bring to the table. So that's how we're thinking about it.
Interesting. Um, okay, so skills are becoming a commodity, but the data you collect that the skills run on is your secret sauce. That's the interesting. Um, and so then, okay, so then looking over the next, so you guys are moving so fast. Looking over the next, call it 6 months, 12 months, what's your focus? Like what do you want to turn Moburst into? What are the strategic pillars you guys are focused on?
Um, so I think our challenge is how do we, on the one hand, scale the agency and continue thriving as a business, um, and at the same time continue investing in some of these stuff which are more long term. Um, so I think one of the things we did this year is kind of launch a growth labs, which is working on things that are like not necessarily within the wheelhouse of any team, just creating products. So we just launched a tool called Intercept, which essentially surfaces business opportunities for our clients based on all the, it kind of scans Reddit and X and Facebook and LinkedIn and kind of says, okay, this is the people that are talking about or searching services like yours. Here's an opportunity. Do you want to go in and discuss? Do you want us to mention, like, do you want us to handle it for you? So all kinds of tools like that, which give our clients an unfair advantage. So that's, I think, one effort that we're dealing with. And then on the team side is thinking, okay, how can we create a set of tools, a set of agents that, as I mentioned at the beginning, can give our teams superpower and allow us to continue to hire, but to have each person, capable of doing much more clients, better service, and I think the way to do that is just try to eliminate as much as we can of the mundane nitty gritty and have people, being the architects, the strategists, having them interface with clients, but giving them all the tools they need to, do the back end stuff, which I think isn't that a computer can do better, an AI can do better at this point.
Gotcha. So it's helping clients. You guys built this AI powerhouse, and it's kind of giving clients access to the growth part of it. Um, and then also building agents to supercharge your team.
Yeah. And what we're looking for as a business is right, like in previous years, the majority of our revenue is tied to service. We want to this year to see how we can diversify more of this into becoming like, okay, this is revenue that's for products, which our clients pay us uh, uh, above and beyond the service. This is a product that either they use themselves or they pay us to use it, or and then there's the service, can be with the product or without, but just having more like a SaaS product revenue, which isn't necessarily associated with services. So that's one of our goals for this year.
Interesting. Interesting. And so, Lior, where can people find you?
Um, all the places that you find people. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on X. And check out our website at Moburst. Where we just launched Intercept, so that's that we're excited for that. And excited to speak with anyone who wants to chat AI.
Awesome. We'll link to you in the post as well. Uh, Sweet. This has been super fun. Thanks a lot, Lior.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Cheers.